Okay, we did get one more there, so why don't we officially kick things off? I want to formally welcome everyone to the call. My name is Pete Wormter. I look after marketing for QuandaGo, and I want to thank you for taking some time to meet with us and have a session with us today. This really is designed for existing customers, but absolutely, if you're new to QuandaGo, you'll learn some cool things today and what the platform can do in the area of messaging. This session is designed to be pretty quick, so we don't want to take up too much of your time. It's designed to be a 30-minute session, and it's really demo-driven. So I will talk a little bit up front around the topic of messaging apps and integrating messaging apps into your omnichannel contact center, really why messaging apps are an important digital channel and really critical part of the channel mix today. Some best practices and some things to think about if you're considering implementing and deploying some messaging apps with customers and for customer service, and even some tips to help you if you're already doing it and maybe taking it to the next level. From there, we really want to get into the product and show you how it works and what it feels like. So I will be introducing later in the call Robert Winder, coming into us from San Francisco, and Robert is gonna do the demo part of our session today and really show you how we support messaging apps in the QuandaGo environment, how we can take answers in a more automated bot-type fashion, and then have a transparent connection to a live agent, which is really a critical component and a key feature of the QuandaGo platform. We'll open it up from there for some questions if you have them. Also have opportunities to follow up with any of you should you have questions after the session. So with that said, let's jump into the next slide and look at messaging and messaging platforms really from the customer's perspective and what's happening out in the world today. So when we talk about messaging platforms, we're talking about channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Viber, maybe Twitter direct messaging. Really those messaging platforms that are enabling really direct one-to-one communications that are extremely popular in the consumer world today, but are increasingly becoming a requirement for businesses to offer as a customer communication channel. So WhatsApp alone delivering 100 billion messages a day. So massive volumes of interactions taking place there in the consumer world. It's really forcing companies and businesses to offer this as a channel because consumers really are expecting it, and this will only continue to grow and really become a requirement for all contact centers. We often refer to our friends over at Deloitte Digital and look at some of the research and some of their work they're doing in the context of messaging in an omnichannel world. They found that 50%, so half of those using messaging apps, expect a business to be able to interact with them over that platform. So I think the conclusion really is it's not an if you should support messaging platforms, but really a when and how you're going to do it. And this Deloitte report, we've actually wrote a blog on this topic earlier this week. If you follow the QuandaGo blog, there's a post Tuesday. You can find this Deloitte report. I think we shared it on LinkedIn. If you follow us on LinkedIn, we share this type of content as well. And the there's some great info in here and you can find it on our LinkedIn feed as well. But when you're looking at messaging and some of the things to think about, they're pretty obvious. Obviously, as you bring in a new channel, you need to think about things like volume, hours of support, your CRM, and bringing customer data and knowledge bases into the mix. Which apps really you're going to focus on? Do you start with one? Do you start with multiples? And you know, really, how's it going to affect your overall KPIs and contact center performance? So, as I mentioned, the Deloitte piece has some great best practices and will help you think about the right things if you're considering messaging. Let's tick over to the next slide. In terms of really how to get messaging right, and this is a combination of some ideas we borrowed from the consultants, including Deloitte, and also based on our own experience working with customers and helping them bring messaging apps into their current environment. So simple guidance is really starting with a messaging app that your customers already use, and really starting with one. So things like geography, the demographics of your customer, the business type, all these things matter and should be factored in when deciding which messaging app to support for your business. It's really about improving customer experience and adding a channel and adding more convenience, and really from a customer kind of outside in perspective and focusing on that and not saving money. While there are certainly some efficiency opportunities and some self-service opportunities, the goal really should be to use it to improve customer engagement and customer experience. Integration is key, and not only integrating this as a channel within the contact center, but with other enterprise systems and apps like knowledge bases and CRM, and even connectivity to the back office. So a messaging interaction that might start in the contact center but require a person in another part of the business, we now have that ability to move these messaging apps to the back office to complete tasks and find resolutions for customers. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Robert will talk a little bit more about that in the demo piece. It's, of course, needs to be part of an omni-channel strategy, so do not deploy messaging in a silo. Increasingly, messaging, as it becomes more common, can be used to manage multiple types of interactions. You might start with one type, but the long view should be managing multiple types and tools that enable agents to manage multiple interactions and messaging interactions at the same time. And again, always having live access to an agent is key, and this is certainly the case with messaging. So with that said, we'll go to the next slide here. You know, a reminder, QuandaGo is open. We integrate obviously with messaging platforms like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, Twitter, but CRM apps and other key platforms out in the enterprise IT space. So this is part of that strategy and part of that openness that we believe in. Next slide. I'm going to now hand it over to Robert for the demo piece and really give everyone a view on what this really looks like from a product perspective. So Robert, why don't you take it away?
Thanks very much, Pete, and good afternoon to you all from what is going to look like a sunny day here in California. So really excited for some warmer weather. We've been suffering a little bit, and I'm kind of envious of my colleagues over in Europe who are having a heat wave, or maybe sometimes. Anyway, thanks very much for joining today, and let's move on. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about give you a layout of the demo, and then we'll get into the demo itself. So let's get on to the next slide, please. As you know, we support all of the different channels that you need from a business perspective, whether that's WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Viber, even for the old-timers, web chat. And for those of you who are not quite as old as I am, even we also support voice and inbound and outbound and all the usual ways to deliver your contacts into the contact center and across the rest of your business. Now, clearly, what apps like WhatsApp and Messenger and Twitter offer us are a way to bring in or offer more channels to our customers, and a way to bring in more opportunities to automate. And one of the things that we see are there are many different tools and many different ways to automate. Some we partner with, some we don't. But the beauty of our open API approach and our platform approach is that you can basically integrate automated bots and so on, and to automate many of the tasks, and then have those tasks handled by the QuandaGo platform and delivered out across the contact center, and also even better to the back office where real fulfillment actually happens. Now, the beauty of all of this is it's totally transparent. So transparent to the customer, and we create this ability to connect with an agent when you need it, or an expert when you need it. And I think the approach that we've taken here is pretty smart, because what it does is it definitely allows customers to automate where possible, and still to have agent support sitting there in the background where the agent might need to step in and take over from the bot and take over the control. The example that I'm going to go through today is a simple package delivery. Think of it like a FedEx, a DHL type scenario. In fact, this is quite close to our hearts for one of our customers over here, where we're already deploying solutions like this. So let's move on to the next slide, please, Robin. Now, I'm going to mention this several times during the call today. The beauty of the contact center platform that we have developed is the way in which we can allow a task to get started in the contact center, but often fulfilled in the back office. In our scenario that I'm going to describe for you, this is an everyday occurrence, and in fact, a several thousand times a day occurrence for our package delivery customer. What happens is a customer will call, maybe trace their package, or try and trace the package online, perhaps integrate through a chat session, through a Facebook Messenger session, but then ultimately want to change the final destination of that package. In some of the places where you have very rural locations, it's not always possible for the van, for the truck to reach its final destination, particularly when weather is in place, or where roads are impacted by storms and so on. And so what we have with our customer is the need to have the end customer, the package receiver, to be able to call into the contact center, and to have the back office, the people in the delivery trucks and the delivery teams and the depots, reroute that package to another destination based off of the customer's request. So there we have a contact which initiates online. It goes through the contact center. It goes from the contact center, gets sent out through our environment, through the QuandaGo environment, directly to somebody in the back office, in the delivery team environment, for final fulfillment. The beauty of the platform is, of course, this can be seamlessly integrated. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how we do that today in our demo. So just bear with me while I share my screen here. And you can see here I'm in Facebook. I've opened a window to a mythical company, in this case called Senguess. So this is a package delivery shell, if you like, something that we could easily show and demo our product. And imagine, we have our consumer. As a consumer, I'm going to come to the Senguess Facebook page, and I want to know where my package is. So the first thing I might do is send a message. So as you can see here, I'm interacting now with the Facebook Messenger environment. I hit Get Started, and now the bot is answering me. Now, this bot is an off-the-shelf bot. It's a piece of technology which until earlier this week, as we were preparing for the demo, didn't exist. But it's super easy to build, dead easy to integrate, and works perfectly within the QuandaGo environment just through our open API approach. So the question is, how can I help you today? Well, I'm here because I want to know where my package is. So I can say, where is my package? And I can see the bot auto respond to that by asking me for a tracking number. In this case, I'm going to just put in a simple number. And as you might expect, for the purposes of the demo, this is going to provide an immediate response. It's going to look up the package in the track and trace system of the package delivery company, and it's going to come back and say, well, good news, it's out for delivery. Now, in the real world, of course, we would have integrated with business systems and captured all of that interaction. But what we also have the ability to do is to say, well, what if the agent actually wants to step in and take over some part of the conversation? So imagine the consumer wants to now talk to a live agent. Let's flip over and take a look what it looks like from the agent perspective. So for those of you existing customers, you're probably very familiar with the QuandaGo agent desktop. As you can see here, we have our agent status and we're on a chat activity. And now we're in our messaging product that is running inside of the browser window. And you can already see that there is a message here from Facebook. It's come from SendGuest and it's from the customer, Robert Winder. If I click to open that, you can actually see that we did two things. One is you can see that there's an unread message, so the customer just typed in the packaging information in here, but the customer is really asking for where is my package. You can see that in this text here. Now, the second thing that I want to show you is how what we did is we actually incorporated the Facebook ID, the unique identifier for each Facebook user. That got pasted into this email field. And you can see here we already did a search for that user based off of this Facebook ID. I can actually pull this record up now and I can start to see within the agent cockpit the 360-degree view of the customer. So I can already see who the customer is, where they're based, any information related to them, perhaps some order balances, any open processes. So perhaps they've called in the past and we've interacted with them before and now they're looking to do things that we need to complete or conclude. Maybe they're even interacting with us back regarding some of these open tasks. So from an agent perspective, what we've done is consolidated this into a single view, everything that the agent needs to know about this customer ahead of time. So not only did we save the time in terms of giving the screen pop and full pre-populating the information, we also pulled up the customer 360-degree view here. By the way, beneath I can see that this customer has interacted, made 3 phone calls, 4 chats, no Facebook messages yet, or Facebook encounters yet, and no Twitter encounters. So the agent can now respond. I can take over, right? So this is now the agent now being able to take over and send that message back to the customer, and you can see here the chat message is being delivered in here. Now, part of the beauty of the QuandaGo system, as I mentioned, was also not only bringing in things like Facebook, but also things like Twitter. And I'll show you just very quickly here. We have the QuandaGo demo Twitter user here in the Twitter messages. And I pasted in already this message. And the purpose of this is just to show you how, from an agent perspective, I can be servicing customers in 2 different channels, Facebook Messenger and Twitter, and how I can be doing this with 2 different views on my desktop. So if I go back now to the agent desktop, you can see here that I have my original window open, which was the user or the customer Robert Winder and SendGuest, and you can see the window that I have open here. But now I also have this new one over here, which is a Twitter one, and you can see that obviously because we have the Twitter logo here. If I click on that, I get another new window open, right? So I can easily toggle between these 2 just to show you that these are 2 totally separate windows. And again, we did the screen pop. We pulled out the information, the unique ID from Twitter, and we're now able to display information as it relates to this specific customer. So you can see my message, hi from Twitter user. I can also do things like asking for or providing automated responses. So I can say, welcome, thank you for contacting us, we're happy to help. What is your tracking number? So I can do that through templated messages and being able to respond that way. All right, so what we covered off today in our demo was the integration between Facebook Messenger using a bot and allowing that bot then to escalate to a live agent when the bot wasn't able to fulfill the next request. In addition, what we showed is how we can integrate a second channel coming from, in this case, from Twitter. The same could have been done from WhatsApp or from Viber, from web chat or from SMS. And incorporating that into the QuandaGo platform and showing you how the agent view looks in a consolidated view. And the agents, because we're working in chat, can work on multiple chats simultaneously and have a 360-degree view for each customer here. So as you can see that, pretty powerful agent optimization. The final thing I'll say is that as we create these tasks and processes within our 360-degree view cockpit, as you see here, what we're actually able to do is now to deliver those interactions out to the back office, to people in the back office that can then fulfill these requests. So back to our original demo scenario. And that, I think, will probably be a subject for a different demo, but for sure the capability is here, and we have customers doing that today. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the demo and hand it back to Pete now. Thank you.
Great, excellent, Robert. Thank you very much. Very cool. I think, for me, what really stands out there is that transparent kind of engagement over Facebook Messenger, tracking the package, the delivery, and then when the agent intervention is needed, really doing that in a very seamless way. You don't even realize a transfer is taking place. So that's really cool. And then on the other side, that ability to really show the agent, not just the current interaction, but the previous bot interactions that took place on Facebook Messenger and connecting those pieces together for the agent. And then, yeah, finally that multi-channel, multi-interaction capability is also really, really cool. So thank you for that, Robert. That winds up the session and what we had planned today. We are certainly open for any questions. Those can be submitted over chat. We're happy to follow up with any questions. You can follow up with your QuandaGo team, and we're happy to give even personalized, dedicated demos and show you how we can really implement in your specific organization. So if there are no questions, I'm going to thank everyone for attending. I'm going to thank Robert again for joining us from the early morning in California. And we will, for those of you who are existing customers especially, this is the first of a series. We want to come back and do these at least once a month, if not more frequently. And we want to show you all the things, powerful and cool things that the platform can help you enable. So stay tuned for more. We hope this was useful, and thank you very much for joining.